I'm happy to welcome you back and kick off a very special workshop with our friends from Microsoft. This workshop is led by Mustafa Kaya, Senior Cloud Solution Architect. Mustafa, we're very excited to have you here with us. Can you tell us a bit about what you do and what this workshop will cover? Take it away.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me this great event. Yes, hello everyone. Welcome to our session. My name is Mustafa Kaya and I am working as a cloud solution architect at Microsoft. And I am leading Azure Hybrid Cloud discussions in my region. And today we are going to talk about how you can innovate across your hybrid and the multi-cloud environments with Azure Arc. Let me share my screen. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome again. Yes. First, I would like to set frame about the public cloud because when we think about Azure and the public cloud, it's important to frame that the cloud is both an architecture and operation model. Azure is as a public cloud, a resilient and a scalable platform for your applications and for your any workloads. Yes, at the same time, innovation should not be restricted just to the public cloud. Yes, today we will discuss about our hybrid portfolio with innovation with Azure Arc. With as first part of the session will be explanation about the products, especially focusing for the IT professionals are enabled server management. And on the second part, we will continue with the demonstration with our real Azure environment. Okay. Yes, as I mentioned that innovation should not be restricted just to the public cloud. You may have regulations. You may have specific application latency requirements or whichever your reason. That can depends on your company rules. So the important one is, and the clear one for us is, hybrid deployments are here to stay with you. You are going to run your workloads in the public cloud or outside of our data center at the public cloud, your data center. But you still want to access to all benefits of the cloud provides to you. Okay. Yes. First, we set the frame about innovation at the public cloud, but you want to do this innovation outside of the public cloud. Because of that, we wanted to bring the value cloud operations and the architecture model to the any infrastructure because public cloud is consist of the operations model and the architecture model, and we would like to bring this value to the any infrastructure to the your infrastructure, not only public cloud. So which makes your cloud to the edge ecosystem simple, flexible, and secure at anywhere. This is why we built Azure Arc. Yes, as we understand that Azure Arc is a bridge that extends our public Azure platform. So you can build applications and services with the flexibility to run across data centers, edge locations, and multi-cloud environments. As you see at the slide, normally we have our data center, that's our cloud infrastructure, and on top of that, we have Azure services, infrastructure service, platform service. But with Azure Arc, we bring with a bridge to your infrastructure and enable your infrastructure like our cloud data center and bring our cloud native services to your infrastructure, to any data center or any edge locations. So Azure Arc provides a consistent development, operations, and security model for your new applications, for your or existing applications. The important one is for us use same tools, same security, and the same governance model using the same technologies to manage and create your applications. On top of that, Azure built-in services. That's for the Azure infrastructure or your infrastructure or any cloud. So we say that Azure Arc is here, innovation anywhere at hybrid and multi-cloud environments. Okay, so up to this slides, we explained, set the frame, and then value, introduction value of Azure Arc that brings the services to any infrastructure. And let's go a little details. Yes, this is our portfolio of capabilities to support your hybrid and multi-cloud strategy, because with this new cloud world, with this new cloud and digital transformation, we have distributed infrastructure. So we need to manage this distributed infrastructure from a single control plane. So with this portfolio, that's all starts for us with Azure Arc. And Azure Arc enables you to standardize visibility, operations, and the compliance for your all resources, locations by extending the Azure control plane, as I mentioned, from the single control plane. That's right from Azure. So you can easily organize, govern, and secure your SQL Server, your Windows Server, or your Linux server. Even also, you can organize and manage your Kubernetes clusters across data center, edge, and multi-cloud locations. Enabled by Azure Arc, you can bring Azure services to any existing infrastructure, not only for your on-premise data center, including other clouds you are using, which one. So you can take an advantage of Azure and the public cloud benefits everywhere, such as the fast deployment, such as the scalability, or always up to date with the cloud innovation. So you can build your own consistent cloud infrastructure in your own data center. So you can modernize your data center and you can run cloud native application on premises with your existing investments while you are meeting your regularity compliance, or as I mentioned that your application latency restrictions, whatever. You are meeting these requirements and you use your existing investments, but you are getting the benefits of clouds at your own data centers. Yes. Also, you can extend, that's important nowadays and very popular, that you can extend AI capabilities to the edge device with Azure IoT. And you can use Azure machine learning services that to the any infrastructure. Okay, so you can run your machine learning with your data, it's staying on your own data center, and advanced analytics tools to use staying close with your users and your data. Okay. Yes. Let's go to the. Let's me. Yes. Okay. Let's go to the what we provide with Azure Arc. Yes. As you see in this slide, we innovate anywhere with Azure. And under this, we have Azure Arc. And with Azure Arc, we are providing consistent set of tools and the services for you to extend cloud technology across, as I mentioned, that distributed infrastructure from the cloud to the edge locations, whatever. Okay, so under the Azure Arc, we have a lot of different capabilities. Today, we will focus securing and governing your infrastructure I mean that's for the managing your virtual machines, securing, monitoring your virtual machines. But Azure Arc helps you to do this by delivering the four key capabilities. First one is building cloud native applications anywhere. We have a lot of cloud native Kubernetes application development capabilities for public cloud, for public Azure Kubernetes services. But with Azure Arc, you can use these capabilities at any infrastructure, such as GitOps, such as the Docker Open Service Mesh, Monitor for containers, Defender for containers. We have great cloud native capabilities. With Azure Arc, you can build anywhere. This you can enable any Kubernetes infrastructure, which is the which must be CNCF distribution, Kubernetes distribution. You can utilize. The second one, leveraging the data insights from the cloud to the edge locations. I mean that we have new kind of SQL Server or the database solutions such as SQL managed instance, such as or as an OSS solution, PostgreSQL, or we have Azure machine learning capabilities. You can leverage data insights. You can run these PaaS services at your infrastructure with Azure Arc. Azure Arc brings this capability to your infrastructure. And the third one is securing and governing your entire digital estate. That's today's focus. And we will go details, dive into details for the managing your infrastructure. And the last one is meeting your regularity and the connectivity needs with our Stack family for as a hyperconverged solution. But today we will focus secure and govern environments. Okay, let's dive into what we mean for the enabling your virtual machines, enabling your servers with Azure Arc. Yeah, we call this as Azure Arc-enabled servers. Okay, let's talk about specific solution a bit more. Starting with Arc-enabled servers, let you take advantage of cloud native security and governance services. Azure Arc-enabled server lets you manage Windows and the Linux physical servers or virtual machines outside of the Azure on your corporate network, on your data center, or other cloud provider virtual machines. This management experience is designed to be consistent with how you manage native Azure virtual machines using standard Azure constructs. Okay, I mean that we have a standard grade built-in capabilities, tools, services such as Azure Policy, such as Defender for Cloud, Azure Update Management. You can use these native Azure services for the Azure virtual machines for your virtual machines or physical services. That's important. We just need to enable your server with an agent. After installing an agent to your VM or physical server, that means for us anymore, that's the connected machine, that's a hybrid machine, and that behaves like an Azure resource. That's getting a resource ID from the Azure Resource Manager, and that's including your resource group and the subscription. So you can use these Azure native services for your hybrid machine like Azure VM. I mean, I mean Azure Policy. In normally we use this tool for managing the doing the governance for Azure Virtual Machine. So we can do same for the Arc-enabled server, your on-prem virtual machine. For the security, Azure Active Directory Managed Identity capability, we are using this for the Azure Virtual Machine. After the enabling and installing an agent to your virtual machine, we can do same for your on-premise Arc-enabled servers. Yes. Yes, that's the common question. That's also topic of the uh, today's which management services can I use with my Arc-enabled virtual machine. You can utilize Azure Policy. You can use Defender for Cloud, Microsoft Sentinel, Azure Monitor, change and inventory tracking, update management, and coming new services are coming. So I mean that's not a mandatory. These are additional services. You enable your VM, your server. After that, you just turn one of them when you want to use. For example, if you would like to enable on Defender, you just enable turn on Defender capabilities or monitoring or the other one. I will explain some of these capabilities with Azure Arc. Yes, as I mentioned, Arc not only for the virtual Windows and the Linux server, also for the SQL Server. So using the Azure Arc, while you are staying your SQL Server, your existing environment, your legacy database at your on-premise data center, after we enable that with Azure Arc, we are bringing more Azure data manageability to SQL Server on-prem and the multi-cloud environments. So I mean that with Arc-enabled SQL Server, installing same approach, installing an agent, a virtual machine or server, which has SQL Server. Okay. After that, you can get the benefits of Azure data management. With Azure Arc, you can manage your all SQL estate using Azure, get a single view of your all single SQL Server in a central portal, so you can see your all SQL servers, your database to manage your inventory. So, so that help you better manage also for the license benefits. So, and we also provide SQL best practices. That's like a replacement of the on-demand assessment that's coming with Azure Arc as a free SQL best practices analyzer that automatically evaluates your SQL Server like the security, performance, scalability, business continuity, and much more capability with no additional costs. So you just need to enable your on-prem SQL Server with Azure Arc and get public cloud Azure native capabilities, and you are keeping your data at your data center. Also for security, we lightened up for Defender for Cloud to enhance the security gesture for the SQL Server and also single sign-on capabilities with the Azure Active Directory and a lot of security capabilities coming with the Azure. Okay, all these features are available for the Arc-enabled SQL Server. Yes, Windows, Linux, and SQL Server. Yes, let's go to built-in capabilities. First one is Defender for Cloud. You know, I guess you heard Defender for Cloud is our core product for all discussions, for the application development, for the network, of the database. Security is the most important one and coming with all discussions. And Defender for Cloud is a tool running at the Azure and for your security posture management and protect the threats. The security posture of your cloud resources and with it is integrated Microsoft Defender plans for Defender for Cloud protects your workloads running in Azure, but with Arc that protects your hybrids and other cloud platforms, that same single Defender dashboard. So you will have a single dashboard and you will have continuous assessment capability and understand your current security for the multiple environments, distributed infrastructure across your hybrid and the multi-cloud resources and provides you a secure score. What is your security score from a single campaign? And second one, yes, first one's continuous assessment. Second one is secure. Always provide you recommendation about the security and increase and improve your security score. And the third one is defending, detect and resolve threats to those resources with the security alerts. And these alerts send an email or can be integrated with your CM tool or the IT service management solutions. You can integrate these alerts from the single control plane for the multi environments. Okay. Under the Defender for Cloud, we have different solutions because Defender not only, as I mentioned at the beginning of the Defender, coming with all discussions, Defender for servers, Defender for SQL Server, Defender for containers, Defender for DNS. We have a lot of solutions under the Defender, and with Defender for servers is one of the enhanced security features of Microsoft Defender Cloud, and we can use that for the threat protection and advanced defense for your Windows and the Linux machine, whether they can run on Azure or they can run at on premises or the multi-cloud environment, as I mentioned. You can protect your machine in hybrids, and you can easily, that's the coming benefit with the Azure Arc, you can easily deploy Defender as an extension for your Arc-enabled server directly from the Azure portal without installing a separate agent on premise. And you can, after that, after this extension model, you can run vulnerability assessment for your Windows and the Linux machine. You can enable just-in-time capabilities for your all virtual machines. Yeah, as you know that all of the virtual machines, if potential targets for the attack when you enable the RDP or something like that, what Defender for Cloud help you just-in-time VM access, you can use that. And also with Azure Policy Integration, you can set security for your Arc-enabled servers. Yes, that's the first portion, Defender for Server. Second portion, Defender for SQL Server. Defender for SQL Server is the same approach, protect for the threats. Some of the use case that's coming may be good summarized for the Defender for SQL Server. That protects you for the brute force attack, that protects for the SQL injection attacks, the access anomalies or the query anomalies. Defender for Cloud is the great capability for your Arc-enabled SQL Server. Yes. Then another and the third scenario is Microsoft Sentinel. I will not go deep dive details about Sentinel, but I just would like to mention that that's our cloud CM tool. That's the security information event management tool, and that aggregate logs from your all on-premise hybrid company resource, operating system applications, antivirus, database, whatever, and analyze and provide a single pane for the threats. And so with Azure Arc, you can enable your service with the Sentinel for your on-premise and the multi-cloud services. Another important point is, another scenario is monitoring. Yes, observability, actually. We can say that observability is for the cloud infrastructure is, I think that must be essential for the maximized availability and the performance of our applications and the services that can run public cloud or on-premise. With Azure Arc, you can extend Azure Monitor, our monitoring tool, to your Arc-enabled service. Not only for the virtual machine, you can extend that your Kubernetes solutions that consistent observability provide to you. For your Arc-enabled services, you can monitor your operating system performance, discover the application components, monitor the process, see the disk usage, IOPS, whatever, and collect the log data to the log analytics workspace, such as the Azure Virtual Machine, for example, performance data, events, operating system data, and you can do that as an extension model, only one single agent Arc-enabled connected machine agents. Yes, these are the security and monitoring part. On the other hand, today's topic is govern your workloads across heterogeneous infrastructure. First one is Azure Policy. Yes, maybe I guess you heard that Azure Policy helps to enforce your organizational standards to your all resources. With Azure Arc, you can do that for your Arc-enabled service. It provides an integrated view to evaluate overall state of your environment. So you can apply the policy for your Arc-enabled resource, for the per resource or the per policy granularity. It also helps to bring your resource to compliance to the bulk remediation for existing resource and automatic remediation for your new resources. It depends on your Azure policy. That's the totally same approach with the cloud native one. The common use case for Azure policy is implementing governance for resource consistency, regularity compliance, security, cost management, and you govern your infrastructure for the multi-cloud. You can do that Azure Arc and the policy enablement. You can define your custom policies. By the way, you can use that a lot of built-in policy coming for Azure Arc-enabled service. You can use this built-in policy, or you can define, you can create your own custom policy. That's the first one for the governance and infrastructure management Azure policy. And second one is update management. That's the new kind of update management solution which is running at the public cloud. And you don't have to maintenance update management server that's running at the public cloud. And as you know, that's the update management center is a unified service to help manage and govern updates for all your machine, all your virtual machine. You can monitor your Windows and the Linux update compliance across your deployments in Azure, on-premise, on the other cloud platforms from a single dashboard. You just need to enable install Arc-enabled server agent, connected machine agent, and then enable Azure Update Management Center from the portal sites. Yes, other great capability coming with uh, Azure Virtual Machines, also for the Arc-enabled servers, auto manage machine best practice. That's a service that eliminates need to discover, need to understand now how to onboard something, how to configure certain services in Azure for your virtual machines. Auto manage help you enable automatically best practice services and help you provide a resilient, a reliable security and management for your virtual machines, such as you want to enable Azure Update Management or the Azure Backup for your all services or servers virtual machine. You don't have to do now know how you can do that, or you don't have to spend time that Azure Auto Management best practice can handle this for you. After onboarding your machine to Azure Auto Manage, that you can create the custom profile, or you can use the built-in Azure profiles that's suggested. Other governance and management capabilities, inventory management. That's we can think inventory management, change tracking together. These are the Azure automation feature that tracks the chains in your virtual machine hosted at your data center, and to understand your inventory for such as the Windows software, Linux software package, daemon sets, files, registry from a single pane, and up when a change is triggered, or when a track, if you would like to track a change, you can create the alerts and change all tracks, such as you would like to get an alert when a Windows server stopped or a software is uninstalled, something like that. You can do that with the inventory and change tracking capabilities for your uh, on-premise virtual machines. Yes, these are coming capabilities with for the Arc-enabled servers. And let me quickly show the Arc-enabled server agent. We have, as I mentioned, that only one agent. That's the connected machine agent. And the rest of the things works as an extension model. We install this agent to your on-premise or multi-cloud virtual machine or physical servers. And we pass to the agent subscription, which region, and the network connectivity model, and then connect this to the public cloud, to the Azure side. That only send metadata to the public cloud to identify and to be unique in the Azure Resource Center. I mean that there is not any personal or the your customer data. Only share the metadata such as the operating system name or such as operating system version, and the rest of the things stay on your data center. After we install this agent, connected machine agent to your on-premise and authenticate Azure Active Directory with authorization method actually. And after that, that's the connected machine for us. We can manage anymore like an Azure virtual machine from the Azure portal with Azure CLI, with Azure REST API. That's part of Azure Resource Manager anymore. Okay, that gets a resource ID and behave anymore like an Azure virtual machine. Yes, there are different options to connect your servers to the public cloud. You can connect directly internet, or you can use your own express route of the site-to-site VPN with the private network connectivity. As I mentioned, we install only one agent, but other capabilities coming in as an extension model. That's same for also SQL Server. We install Arc-enabled server, and then we install our Azure extension for SQL Server. After that, we see this server as a Arc-enabled SQL Server. Okay, so all works like as the SQL Server model. Okay, let's go to the demonstration, and let me share my demo environment to go deep, show you the capabilities of Azure Arc at real Azure virtual environment. I'm sharing my screen. Okay. Yes, that's my portal. That's my Azure environment. And for you, with this demonstration, first, I will start with how you can onboard a virtual machine or your server to the Azure, and then go step by step with the capabilities. First one, I would like to show Azure Arc. As you see that, Azure Arc is a service in there, and there's a single control plane for your all hybrid and the multi-cloud environments. There are different capabilities: infrastructure, data services, application service. As you see that, you can run logic apps, function, app service, API management at your own infrastructure. For the data service, you can run PostgreSQL or the SQL managed instance. For the infrastructure part, you can enable your Stack HCI, you can enable your VMware vCenter, you can enable your Kubernetes cluster, and absolutely you can enable your servers and SQL servers. As you see, two different paths. First, let's first understand how you can enable a virtual machine with Azure. The first step is we need a authentication and authorization mechanism. You can directly log in and use your own user, which has enough permission to onboard a resource. But that's not a good model for the scale environment. I mean, when you do that for the 1,000 virtual machine or more than 100 virtual machine, that's not a good idea. So for this kind of scenarios, we can create a service principal for the authentication and authorization. Yes, I'm first creating a service principal. I'm giving a name, arc demo sp. Yes, arc demo sp is a good naming. Service principal. And I am selecting scope assignment level. As you see, that is totally same user experience with Azure. I am selecting my subscription. I'm selecting the resource group. I can select one of them. Okay. And then I am selecting an expiry date, 1 month, The important one is the roles. This service principal has to be onboarding role. But I suggest for our scenario, get the resource administrator role. After we create this, that's creating new service principal and the client secrets. We will use this service principal ID and secrets. As you see that, you will not be able to retrieve the client secret again after you leave this page. So we download and close. We get the service principal. Okay. We have service principal. Now that means we have the authentication, can be authenticate user. After that, I'm going to the server section and add. As you see, there are different options. You can select generate secret for the single server, and that will use your user for the Azure login. That's good for the adding one server at a time. But if you would like to add multiple servers at single time, you can create a secret, as I mentioned, with service principal, or you can use update management capabilities. I'm going with multiple server section. I'm clicking generate script. Yes. First step is that shows the capability and explain the things. And then I'm selecting the resource group. I'm selecting region for the metadata. That does not bring or to move any customer data, just metadata such as the operating system name or the such as the operating system version, infrastructure name, something like that. I'm selecting a region, and that selecting operating system and connectivity methods. I can use my proxy server. I can use the site VPN or the Express route, or I am allow maybe I allow from firewall directly to connect to Azure sites. And I'm selecting service principal. Yes. Next, you can give the some physical location text such as your city, for my city, for example, for my country, something like that. And next, and as you see that generates a secret for you. You download the secret, and after that, you will go to your virtual machine. You can use this script for your SCCM or the configuration manager, or you can use that with the group policy or for the Ansible. That depends on your um, multiple virtual machine onboarding methods, but that you can generate a script in there. After that, you go to the virtual machine and run this script. I will not create a virtual machine. That may take time for our demonstration time, but for now, I would like to show you my all environment. These are already enabled. Okay, let me my another environment. Okay, you can think that you run this script at your own virtual machine, which is running your on-premise data center, and then you come here to the Azure Arc. Okay, when you come here the servers, you see your virtual machine as connected in there. Connected means that you have the connectivity, network connectivity, agent has installed successfully, and you can manage anymore your virtual machine from here. As you see that's our virtual machine name. And I see some metadata information, as I mentioned, Windows Server, FQDN, computer name, manufacturer, model, agent version, something like that. I connect this virtual machine to a subscription, as you see here. And then I'm going to step by step which feature I would like to use. First one can be insights. For the monitoring, we install only one agent, but if we want to use Azure Monitor, we come here and enable monitor, and then that deploy an extension to this VM. For this one, that's enabled the extension for this one. After enabling the insights, VM insights, as you see that I can see performance data and the map data. Performance data includes disk performance data, such as the disk usage, such as the CPU utilization, available memory, logical disk IOPS, logical disk latency, and bytes sent and received. You see as a the dashboard, already ready dashboard. And also we have the map dependency tree capability in there. For our server, that's the Arc-enabled server, you can see the running process and dependency and the relationship for the other servers. For example, for port 443, there are 16 servers. For port 123, there are one server. You can see the detail of the connection, the links, the ports. You can see the all details and the traffics from here. We call this as a VM Insight capability. And normally, we can do that for the Azure virtual machine, but we can do with Arc-enabled server for your on-premise virtual machine. That's the first part, monitoring. And second part is operations. Under the operations, as you see that we have policies, machine configuration, auto-manage, updates, inventory, and change tracking. For the updates, we see the softwares installed at your Arc-enabled service, and that's always assess and check your environment and provides recommendation the updates to you. You'll see the updates in there. For example, for this virtual machine, security intelligence update for Microsoft Defender antivirus, you see the details, knowledge base ID, and reboot required, publish date. And after that, you can schedule the maintenance for these updates. You can create maintenance configuration. That means when you want to and how you want to update this for your virtual machine. Let me show this. You are selecting subscription, resource group, giving a name for your configuration, update test, select your region, and the maintenance scope. As you see that, Azure Virtual Machine and Arc-enabled, your on-premise virtual machine or multi-cloud virtual machine. And reboot settings, reboot if required, never reboot, always reboot. Okay, that depends on your configuration. After this, you can add a schedule that starts on maintenance window, repeats for each day, and after the maintenance, you select the machines, which machines should be included this maintenance configuration, and then you select updates, which KB ID, and include and exclude packets. As you see that you can include or exclude the separate and specific updates for your virtual machine and create a maintenance window. That's the first part of the operation. And second part is inventory management. Within the inventory management, you can see software files, Windows register, and the Windows services from this page. And you can search all softwares. And you can, when you click that, you can see the details, software name, version, publisher. You can see the all details. That's a really great for your inventory management. For the Linux, you can see the Linux daemon sets. You can see the Windows registry details. That's not configured for this VM, but you can see that Windows services. You can see all Windows services and the status running, and you can search the service specifically. For example, let me search a BFE service, and you can see the details, the status of that, and the service details running, startup type auto. Great feature for the inventory management. And with the inventory management, these inventory management coming with auto manage capabilities, and also we have change tracking. Change tracking is kind of the complementation of the inventory management. We are tracking the change for these softwares, these files, and the registry Windows services. For example, you would like to get an alert when a Windows server stopped or a software changed. You can track here and create alert. For example, That I click the service before value, after value, stop to the running, and you can see all details. For example, there is a software not installed and installed. You can track all change from here. Okay, and the policy, yes, as I mentioned, that Azure policy for the Azure virtual machine and govern and compliant your environment. You can use this policy and status of the compliance. You can use, for example, there are different policies. For example, Windows machine should meet requirements of Azure Complete Security Baseline that looks non-compliant, or auto-managed dependency looks compliant. When you click that, you can see the details of, for example, of that one. You can understand which virtual machines and what are the details, what are the recommendations to be compliant for this policy. That's the same approach, totally same with the Azure virtual machine. Okay, and also there's an auto manage, as I mentioned, that's a set of the best practices for your virtual machine. You don't have to waste your time to onboard to some basic things such as enabling the update management or enabling the inventory for your Arc-enabled servers. You don't have to do manually for each one of them. You can create a profile, and after that you can assign this profile your virtual machine that automatically handle and this best practice for you. Let me show quickly that there are built-in profiles and the custom profiles. For example, for Azure best practice for the production, you see that backup enable, anti-malware enable, and automation enable, auto management, monitoring enable, change tracking on. That's for the best practice for the production. For the dev test environment, you can create separate configuration file and backup of anti-malware on, but monitoring of something like that. Or you can create your own profile and use your for Arc-enabled servers. Okay, and on the other hand, there are great features are coming now, preview, but will be generally available. Windows Admin Center and the Connect capabilities. You would like to manage your virtual machines from anywhere outside of corporate network, but you don't have the VPN. Without needing a VPN connection or direct connection to your network, and without not any additional network connectivity, only Azure Arc connectivity, you can do that public or private with ExpressRoute or site-to-site VPN that's already connected to the Azure site. You can connect your Windows server directly from here, get the Windows Admin Center, and get all these capabilities from here. Okay, and the Connect is a great feature also. You can do SSH without need any additional ports and the communication. You just need the authentication and authorization, connect in browser that opens and session in here and connect with SSH to your server. Absolutely, you need enough permission. You must be part of the Windows Admin Center administrator login group. You must have the enough authentic authorization to see and connect there. Okay, that's important, but that's the base. You can do that anywhere. For the without needing any additional network connectivity or the requirement security. For the absolutely, there is Azure Active Directory and your role-based access control works in here. Yes, that's the overall Azure Arc management capabilities. As you see that, we can enable any infrastructure, your hybrid and the multi-cloud, and like an Azure virtual machine, same UI, same user experience, same built-in cloud native tools, and you don't need to learn and you don't need multiple tools for the multiple environments. You can do that from the single control plane with Azure Arc. Azure Arc, or for enable servers, one of the flavor of Arc umbrella under the Arc umbrella, and Azure Arc is a bridge and brings all these paths and other capabilities for your on-premise infrastructure. Okay. Thank you so much for attending this session, and Goodbye.